Power issues yesterday, and today at least 30 batteries began swelling. 2 of them burst. People were evacuated and 3 employees were sent to the hospital for possible toxic gas exposure. They're now working to safely remove all of those batteries. Those batteries run the risk of exploding, leading to fire and toxic gas. And authorities say the batteries weigh about 100 pounds each, which makes this a very difficult process. Our Jada Williams has been on scene all day. She'll have a live report coming up in a half hour at 4 o'clock. Now to our top story here at 3:30. One plastic bag filled with chips can break down into thousands of microplastics. A recent study shows more than 3 billion pieces of plastic are floating right now through downtown Tampa each year. In this Full Circle report, ABC Action News reporter Michael Paluska hit the water and the shorelines to meet the people who are fighting to stop pollution.
Pretty easy to get dirty doing a story on trash. We're on the litter skimmer, a ton of stuff was there, and then look here at the water plant, here's a pool, and then of course your usual suspects, plastic bottles, and of course chip bags.
Tampa's oldest water plant protects our drinking water by keeping plastic out with a massive screening system.
Plastic is always our #1 thing.
The meandering Hillsborough River is a gem of Tampa Bay. Piercing through downtown, there's no river walk without it, but looks can be deceiving.
And our net would be out and we would sample for a couple of hours.
For her PhD research at USF, Charlotte Haberstrohr spent 18 months on the Hillsborough River collecting plastics. One bag can break down into thousands of tiny little pieces, and using sophisticated methods, when Haberstrohr extrapolated the data, the number she got was mind-blowing.
3.33 billion plastic pieces per year moving out of the Hillsborough River into the bay.
Theoretically, with that 3.33 billion number, there could be even more, right? Because there's plastics you could have missed, so technically it could be higher?
It will be much higher if you look at smaller particles. We always try to be conservative in our numbers because I don't want to claim something that's not there.
Yeah, so you always lowball it.
We lowball it rather than lying about the results.
Over the past year, Tampa's litter skimmer scooped out 26,000 pounds of trash, all of it heading right into the bay, then the Gulf and beyond, sadly also into the bellies of marine life.
So that turtle swallowed this giant piece whole.
Yep, and we're very lucky that he was able to get it out. Had it wadded up in a certain way or even twisted to create kind of like that long, skinny, it could have caused a much different outcome for him.
Coming up tonight, a deeper look at trash in the bay and the Herculean efforts by volunteers to find and remove ghost traps. In Tampa Bay with photojournalist Reed Moeller, Michael Paluska, ABC Action News.
We move now to a health alert here at 3. This week, I learned of 2 new studies about vaping. One was from the American Heart Association and the other was from UCF. Both focus on different aspects. So first I want to talk about the one at UCF because I spoke with one of the main researchers. Her name is Claudia Andel. She's an associate professor of medicine at UCF. She tells me they did the research because they wanted to investigate the risk behind vaping and if it really is a safer alternative to smoking. Their research focused on how e-cigarettes impact the bacteria and environment in your mouth. She says vapes with nicotine and the ones that supposedly have no additives cause harm to your mouth. She explained to me more of what her team learned.
Because the carrier liquid, so the basic liquid in the e-cigarette vape, already contains things that are FDA approved. They seem to be safe. They're often vegetable glycerol and certain stabilizers, but it turns out that they are inhibiting growth of bacteria. And so we noticed that even without the nicotine, even just the plain basic liquid does affect the growth of the good bacteria in the mouth and leaves room for bad ones to grow.
So she tells me this study focused on the short-term immediate effects on the mouth like bad breath, gum disease, tooth loss, and inflammation. And the next step is to see if those changes could increase the risk of developing cancer. Right now, though, it is very difficult to research any link between cancer and vaping because e-cigarettes have not been around for long enough and it takes cancer a long time to develop. Meanwhile, the American Heart Association study looked at more than 300 papers on vaping and e-cigarette use. It says there are chemicals in e-cigarettes that have a negative impact on your heart, lungs, brain, blood vessels, and GI system. The AHA says more research is needed, specifically long-term data on vaping. All right, let's